You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona.
Hi! Welcome to this Manic Monday. I think this is Cinco de Mayo, so happy birthday. Happy birthday. I don't think it's a birthday celebration. I'm so uneducated right now. Happy Cinco de Mayo to those of you who celebrate. Welcome to the Question Reality Show. I'm Priscilla Leona, and this is an entertainment industry career advice show. And I am, in case you're interested, I am a multiple award-winning independent film festival producer, cable TV producer, podcast producer, director, red carpet host, you name it. I've been walking the line, towing the line. So very qualified to do this show. And we have been doing this for over 20 years, and we have questioned the reality of Oscar nominees, Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Tony Award winners, reality TV stars, seasoned award winners in many different behind the scenes positions as well as in front of the scenes. And what they do is they are working in the entertainment industry and they want to speak openly about the trials and tribulations and honest reality of pursuing a career in entertainment, because it's not all glitz and glitter, people. There's some hard roads. You are walking down that yellow brick road, hopefully onto the red carpet, but you gotta pay your dues first. Now, our goal on this show, is to inspire, motivate, and educate, and just kind of have hopefully a super fun time along the way. So by the end of the show, we hope, my goal is that you'll leave with a head full of advice and just a heart full of laughter, because it is all about laughing to me. I love to have a good time. And now I just rewrote my intro, so that's why I'm turning a page. I rewrite it like every week. Every week I'm changing it and tweaking it. So if you'd like to appear in our show, or if you know someone that wants to come on and promote their skill set or showcase their products or their path in life, you can submit via our website, and that's the questionrealityradioshow.com, questionrealityradioshow.com. I know I still have radio in there, but that's because we've been on the air for 22 years, and we just started doing podcasts last year. So I'm still stuck with that radio show website, questionrealityradioshow.com. Or you can email me directly at priscillaleona@yahoo.com. Again, that's priscillaleona@yahoo.com. And if you missed any of our past episodes, again, we've been on since 2003. First, we started out on cable television, then same show, moved over to radio, and then 2 years ago, we started the podcast. So 22 years. So if you missed any of our shows, we have them all uploaded to our YouTube page, and you can catch up with all of the shows. Actually, just this year, go to questionrealityradioshow.com. Not all the shows are on there, but they're definitely all on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. And that is YouTube and then at Priscilla Leona. So Priscilla Leona. And that is a very important tip that I want to get out to everyone. Branding is so important. When you are starting your business, starting anything in life, you want to make sure that you brand yourself. And that consists of one word: consistency. You have to keep it consistent, especially in this day and age of social media, where, if I meet someone at a party and say, they're an actor and they'd be perfect for a Christmas movie, because I produce a lot of Christmas movies. So if they're perfect for a Christmas movie and they tell me their name, and I try to remember it, or I do remember it, and then I go, damn, I wish I would have got their contact information. If I go to Google and I type their name, I want to see their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram, their TikTok, their LinkedIn, all under the same name. I do not want to see anything that says, Susie Sunshine, Sally Butterfly. Oh, this is a mistake that young people make. Not all. Again, I speak in general terms, but a lot of people want to be cute, and then they end up having all these different names on social media. No one can find them. You know, as a people, we have 5-second attention spans looking for someone. There's too many people out there, so it's going to be a next. So please try to keep it consistent. I went to a TED Talk one time, and I won't tell you who the speaker was, but very, very famous, like multiple Oscar winning guy. And he said, did you ever notice that the movies that win the most Oscars have one word titles or 2 words? He said, the only one that I can think of that won multiple Oscars that had a long title was Gone with the Wind. And that's what he said at the time. But there's been several movies with more titles than that. But overall, keep it at one title. Or use your name if you're a person, or if it's not available, if you're an actress, add actress Jane Smith or actor John Doe, or just make sure your name is in there somewhere so the bots can find you. It's all about the bots finding you. But again, keep it consistent. Now, we ask you for a favor. If you enjoyed our guest today, which I'm sure you will, and liked our show, please consider subscribing to us and give us a little thumb, a little like, or better yet, subscribe to our channels. Now, I don't know about the guests, but personally, when I go through all of my sites and I see that new people are following me or have given me a like or a comment, I will, I will subscribe. And everybody needs a little thumb. Everybody needs a subscribe. So I will reciprocate and support them by subscribing to their channels, because they are nice enough to do it to you. You should do it back. Okay. Talk about keeping it consistent. Let's get my social medias in here. You can subscribe or give me a like at YouTube channel, Priscilla Leona, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Priscilla Leona. Now, Facebook, of course, Priscilla Leona, but we had to include the show. So there's also a Facebook page, Question Reality Show, and then the website is questionrealityradioshow.com. And that's been like that for 22 years. So can't get the radio out. I'm going to have to do a whole new site. And you know how that's a big process. That's another thing. If you keep it consistent, you don't have to do as much work when you have to add sites, change sites, the content on a site, unless it's drastic. It's a whole new career. But if you keep it your name, you don't have to do that. Okay, let's move on to the exciting part of the show. I'm like this. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't even know. I don't have any. I'm not even ADD, ADHD. I'm just like this. I just love talking. I was born to talk. I think my mother said I was talking at like 1 month old. No, not really, but she said if I could, I would. Okay, so the guest today is a lovely man, very handsome, easy on the eye, as you will see now from his pictures. Let's get those pictures up, Albert. His name is, see that? What'd I tell you? Very sexy-licious. His name is Michael B. Judkins. He is a director, a screenwriter, a producer, and a podcast host, and a mental health expert. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I might have to have him give me an assessment after the show. I'm going to ask him for a freebie. He needs to tell me why I'm so happy all the time with absolutely no reason to be, other than I'm still living. I guess that's enough to be happy about. His website is OCT. I'm assuming it means October, but we'll see. OCT 14 Entertainment. Now, I'm going to take a guess. I will ask him, but I think that might be his birth date. It's got to be a birth date or some special occasion. We're going to find out. Again, OCT14entertainment.com. Also, his YouTube channel is OCT14 Entertainment. Oh, there's a 45 on there. He almost met my standards. We're going to find out what the 45 is. And then Facebook, October 14 Entertainment. Oh, he's back, people. He's back with the consistency. We're loving it. And basically, if you go to his website, all of his other social media links are on there that you can check out. But real quick, brief bio. He is a multiple award-winning storytelling powerhouse with over a decade of experience in film and theater and poetry, podcasting, and content creation. And Michael, I believe, from what I've read of the original bio, I kind of finessed it a little bit, I kind of zhuzhed it, made it short, or else we'd be reading for a while. Michael harnesses the arts, I think. He inspires people, he heals people, he uplifts people. And his film, he had a film called Lonely Girl, and it earned festival acclaim. And we'll talk about that a little later. He also writes poetry. Yes, he does. Does he look like a poetry guy? Yes. Got a little big heart underneath that jacket. His poetry became a stage sensation. And now, through the podcast, which is called Indepth Arts and Care Podcast, he is diving deep, honey, deep into the transformative power of creativity. And, this man is so educated. Boy, if you knew his educational stats, you'd be a little intimidated to talk to him. Most people, me, I'll talk to anyone. I can talk to a string physical theorist, which I have, quantum string theory. I was talking to him. And then I can talk to somebody under the bridge. Doesn't matter who the hell you are. If you can talk back, I'm going to talk to you. But Michael has, he is armed, I think, with degrees in journalism, human services, and mental health counseling. I may have to call him in a couple of years. I might have a breakdown. I think that if I got through COVID, I think there might be, I think I might make it, but you never know. He also has a knack for storytelling, I hear, that just leaves his audiences emotionally moved. And Michael's mission, from what I understand, or I gather from reading about him, I think it's real simple. I think he just likes to create, connect, and I think he likes to spark change. So I think he's all about the change, which I don't know. I don't like change myself, but it just depends. I like a change of a menu. As you can see, I am a great lover of the fork and spoon, but don't like change in general. But I love surprises. It's weird. I'm going to have to ask Michael, what is that? What is that? I don't like change, but I love surprises. I don't know. Okay, so without further ado, let's get that hot little handsome guy on the stage. Come on over, Michael. Where are you, honey? Honey child, buttercup. Oh, now you're on the right side. I'm back on the right side. Oh, God. How are you?
I'm pretty well, and yourself.
I'm happy all the time. There's something wrong with me now. I'm going to have to get an assessment from you afterward. What would you say about that? I don't like change, but I love surprises. Is there something wrong with me, Michael?
It depends. I can't clinically assess you in that sense, but I think if anybody was
for a freebie, Michael, I wanted a freebie.
That type of example, I guess it just comes more in the sense of, is it anxiety provoking for you? More the sense of surprising. It's more the sense of like, ooh, I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to get. It could be a provoking thought like that sense.
Oh, now I love surprises. When I say I don't like change, I don't like change like moving. I don't want to move. We've been living in the same house for 29 years. I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to carry me out of here with a pine box. That kind of change. I don't like career changes. I don't like moving changes. But I love surprises, and I love to try things new. We're going to book a session to see if there's anything wrong with me. Now, first of all, I just want to say I love that name of your website. And I'm always curious about the origins of names. So what does the name October 14th Entertainment LLC, where does that come from? Was I right about it being a birth date?
No, so it's not. It's not a birth date, but you was right about the month and the date. So the October 14 is the acronym for OC14. So October of 2014 was the first year and month my writing was professional.
See, I knew there was a reason. There's always a reason with dates, always. Well, I love that. It's a good, and it's easy to remember. And again, branding, very important. Now, I understand, are in the middle of doing a biopic feature film that's slated for production in the fall of 2025. And it's called Steve Broski Living in Allentown. Oh, there were some parties, honey, in Allentown, Pennsylvania in the 80s. Now, I like Allentown. Now, there's a multiple question. Who is Steve Broski? What inspired you to want to do a biopic feature film about him?
So I'll tailgate this question backwards. So Broski and I actually, this is probably like our third creative project that we've collectively done together. Steve Broski is a singer-songwriter based out in Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Pennsylvania. He's well known out here. His music focuses on Americana, blues, and some pop, and as well as some jazz, and as well as going back to just an old Americana singer-songwriter with a guitar. The lovely part about the story, Steve and I actually met Steve when he was working on one of his records called the Still album. I was working with the label that he worked with on that album, which was based out in Allentown, and the producer brought me in to kind of do A&R on his project, and that's where I started developing that working relationship with Steve. We actually did a music short video called In Your Arms, where it was in reference to a heroin overdose, and we actually won a film festival award for that as well too. So we had a working relationship and continue to work a relationship right now. So.
You see, I didn't even know you were an A&R guy. That's not even in anything I read. I didn't know you had that ability too. Now, for those, I doubt seriously not many people know what A&R means, but just in case, what does an A&R guy do in music?
So A&R, artist and repertoire, it really depends, because in hindsight, it depends. In hindsight, you work with the artist, from whether that means you going out to search for the artist to bring to a label or producer or independent creative team, whoever, or you're and that's the one-off, right? You're just doing that and that's it, or you're working with that label to develop the artist, to look for the songs, to get a package together, to push the distribution and go further through the.
Do they still do that these days? Because everybody I talk to say they don't even do that anymore. You got to come with your own stuff. You got to have everything together, period. Is that true?
Absolutely. And this is a fast moving world of technology and everything. That's what it was. When that Still album came out, this was about before COVID. So this was like 2-3 years before COVID.
Yeah.
So with that record, but even with that being said, I just think social media have taken over that aspect to where even if you did A&R for major labels, independent labels, or just working on a creative team and you're looking for talent, that's what you're looking for now, right? Somebody that already comes with that 1 million followers.
They want you to build your own followers. They want you to have your whole CD. They want you to have all your stuff on. It's like, what are you doing? What have you done for me lately? They used to do it all in advance, money. I don't even know what they do. I have a friend that works at Capitol Records. I said to him, what in the hell do they do over there now? Just sit and collect the money is what he said. Just you show me the money. They want the artist to show them the money. Why are they going to just give you the title? You gotta do everything these days. But that's another show. Now, what stage is what stage, I guess, because I'm confused because it says that production is slated for fall 2025. So what production stage are you at right now? Pre-production?
So I'm still in development. Pre-production starts July 16th. So from July, most of how for this particular project, just to kind of give you some back history with this, Steve and I actually started working on a script almost over a year ago, and we took a year on the script. So this wasn't a rush project. We took a year on the script, and now we went into development. I'm under fiscal sponsorship with From the Heart Productions. So we've been partnering up with a lot of local businesses on locations. It just really, since it's a community, this is a community figure. You know, we're a lot of local businesses and things that, you know, that's fans of Steve are contributing and helping out to bring this project to life. Right now in the development stage, I started my art department early on. So I started visual concepting and everything early on as far as location. So I've been working with my art team for about 6 months already.
Wow.
Crafting out with the looks, how we looking at what's the material. Let's get some 70s stuff here. So we've been doing this for a couple of months already. So we got a lot of things already to where our pre-production stage is pretty much just really narrow and focusing and scheduling and seeing what becomes. Since it's a independent production, you know, every penny counts, right?
Yeah.
And everything matters. So free is better. So you know, we keep plugging away and keep going out there. But we're doing about 2 different phases. So we're going to start about 8 or 10 shooting days in the fall. Holiday, you know, holiday comes up, we're breaking for holiday. We're not shooting over the holiday, and then after the break come up.
Now, there you could have chosen anybody, I guess, in the world, or a lot of people. Why Steve Broski? Is he a personal friend? What made you decide to work with him, or to make a project about him?
Personally, Steve is a wonderful person. He has a big heart as a musician and as a person. I think me and him, we gravitated. Our connection when we met, it was that of a creative connection. So it was easy to work with Steve, and it was a very collaborative process.
Right.
From one creative to another creative on the writing, because I write. So on the writing side, right? So that was one of the things for me. I knew when I was going into this project, I needed to have as the writer, right? So especially go diving into it, writing it, and kind of developing what you want to develop out of that. And then it doesn't hurt that I like his music, right? So I can listen to his music. I was a radio host, so I used to be on WDIY 88.1 FM. So we used to play his music. So that's how I got acquainted with his music. And kind of built up the relationship from there as well too.
So there wasn't anything that you gravitated towards other than the music in his personal life that you felt like you had to tell his story. Like there wasn't.
Oh, absolutely.
There was. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like he brings the reality. Not to give too much of the story away, but he brings the reality of another human being before the music, right? Okay. He was a Vietnam vet. He's a Vietnam vet.
Oh, he was a Vietnam vet? He looked so young to be a Vietnam vet.
You know, he had his ups and downs with substance abuse. So it takes you, the story that we're sending out takes you through that journey to learn the character of Steve, and then build in how that music came to save his life.
Okay.
Right? So,
that's fabulous. I can. Well, I watched the whole entire video. I of course had to get a Kleenex. It was just really. Now we're not, for the purpose that I don't want to show the whole entire. I didn't want to show the whole entire video because that's gonna take away from the mystique. So we only are going to show. I want to show a little clip of it now, but we're only going to show about 3 minutes, and then they can go to your page. Another reason to send them over to subscribe. Always thinking about it. But we're going to show a shortened version of the music video of one of Steve Broski's songs, and it is the one called "In Your Arms." And again, can you set this up? What the music video is about?
So this project, a lot of things came about with this particular project. This again was part of the Still album, where I was working with him and Westwire Records as the A&R for that record. And they was not going to do a music video at all. I was just going to do the album, He was going to do his gig dates and go out. So when I was looking through his catalog, I was like, well, I think we should do something for In Your Arms, because we don't have to just promote it in a sense of commercially. We can promote it to where it can reach and educate a certain population, right? Demographic population. And that's what we did. And that video I put together the production team. Trish, who was the director and one of the producers on it, love her. It's very creative. JB, who was the director of cinematography on this, love it. We was up in Hazleton drafting out, with the looks and the feel of everything together. One of the highlights of that particular video I love is because when the actress is on the wall and she's sliding down, I actually added that piece in to give that sense of that breakdown when you see that transition. So we really looked at every step and every way we can create a visual depiction of what was happening in the world on drugs.
Okay, so he wrote this and sings and plays guitar on this. Okay. Yep. All right, so we're going to see a little shortened version. This is by Steve Broski, and it is called In Your Arms. That's his picture. Where's the video?
In your arms.
Albert, where's the video? Oh, sorry. Oh.
In your arms.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
It's hard to resist heroin's charm. The devil's in the knee. In your arms. In your arms. It's hard to resist heroin's charm. The devil's in a needle. So where did I go wrong? I know what's in your arms. The sound of your voice, the things that you say, the stuff that you do is giving you away. You can try to hide, you've been lucky so far. I'm not the only one who knows who you are. In your arms. In your arms, you can't resist heroin's charm. The devil's in a needle. Where did I go wrong? And I know what's in your arms. Chasing a dragon, relive that first time. You find your demons, and you don't know why. You lose in the battle. I wish you were strong, and not like your friends, putting junk in their arms. In your arms, in your arms, it's hard to resist heroin's charm. The devil's in a needle. So where did I go wrong? I know what's in your arms. For me to say how I want you to live every day. Just put that needle away. It's not impossible. Not impossible. In your arms.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
so powerful. And it continues to go on. And that's on your YouTube page. And
Yep.
is that what's your YouTube page?
It is OP14 Entertainment LLC. You punch that in, you'll come right up to me.
Yes. So we want to go there and give them a little thumb. And then you can see the rest of it because it continues onward. And the end was very exciting. Now, I assume that he's done a music video for all of his songs, or is this the latest? Or
So I believe Steve, from that project, he had a couple of different videos that come out, but he doesn't have a large repertoire of music videos, but he has live performances on his website.
okay, so if you went to iTunes and you type Steve Broski, you can find his whole
You-
catalog there.
You'll find his music on iTunes, Spotify, and his website is stevebroski.com.
What Steve Broski, and that's Brosky, stevebroski.com. Fantastic. I assume this song's going to be the main title song for the film.
No, actually, it's not. Mm-mm.
What?
Mm-mm. It's not going to be the main title.
well, it's
It'll
gonna
be
be
in
a-
a soundtrack. It'll be in the soundtrack.
Okay. See that? We got to keep some mystery here. Now, let's move on to your podcast. It is called Indepth Art and Care Podcast. And
Yep.
so what is your platform?
So let me give you, everything has history with me. So the In-Depth Arts and Care podcast is actually a spin-off project and podcast from my annual event called Arts and Care. I do an annual event out here at Bethlehem, PA at the Ice House. I am part of the Black Arts Committee at the Performing Arts Collaborative Ice House in Bethlehem, PA. And I do an annual event called Arts and Care where I merge my two worlds of creative arts and mental health. And I have presenters, poets, stage theater play I usually attach to it as well. And then vendors and artists will come out. Last year two, I had jazz and paint attached with that particular Arts and Care event. So during the development of my year 3, which I'm going into right now in August, which is movements and recovery, which would be visual dancing with individual recovery stories, whether it's mental health, physical abuse, and or substance abuse. We're telling their stories with a dancer giving the movements parts of it all. So this year is going to be about recovery and movement. And between year 1 and year 2, being somebody that did radio and come from a background of radio myself, I wanted to get back into doing podcasting for a while. And I thought about it. I didn't know which angle I wanted to go. And then when I started developing my Arts and Care show, it fit perfectly into what I was already doing. The In-Depth Arts and Care is just that, is where creativity is bringing the empowerment of two worlds colliding together. So the target audience is really individuals that love arts and care, right?
That was my next question. I was getting ready to say, who's your target audience?
Mhm.
Who would benefit most from this podcast? You're like psychic. Put that on your resume too. So who is the target audience?
Exactly that, people that care about arts and care, right? Because it's the one thing I look at that is, and interesting enough, statistically, if you want to look at my demographic and everything so far, this is only season 1, I'm going on to my episode 10. I'm actually reaching a younger demographic than I actually thought I was. So this is very interesting to me. But it's targeting my goal and my pitch always with this particular podcast was to target individuals that wants to learn a little bit more about an artist, and not just on what they do artistically, but more in the sense of diving into their character and diving into their heart and what they want to do, and connect it with a piece of what they're doing on their own self-care and self-management. I think a lot of times for me, being a creative myself, I tell people this all the time, being in mental health, I've worked in the field for 24 years doing creative stuff and professional mental health work, 24 years in a lot of different capacities. What saved me was my creative work, right? So that was my coping skill, right? To kind of get through my own life circumstances. At the same point, it was also my talent, right? Because my talent with communication, being able to present, being able to develop and think creatively helped me problem solve a lot of things that I can do in mental health. And a lot of times too, being creative can also help you sometimes develop a quicker bond with individuals, right? Especially if it makes you, sometimes the most help I find with people is to talk, right?
Yeah. Right.
And sometimes you can't open up to an individual, but a person will open up to you if they're interested in something that you do, or interested in something that they do, right? You start hearing talking more.
Right.
So sometimes it can be used as an element to get people to talk.
Well, how can we learn more, listen, and subscribe?
I love it. Well, please, you can always go to my website, OCT14 Entertainment LLC. That's OCT14 Entertainment LLC.com. Look me up. Subscribe. You can send me a note.
Live shows. Do you do them on YouTube? Where are your podcast? Where do they live?
So I'm on Podbean, but my podcast is on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Boomplay, Player FM, YouTube, Facebook. I am also right now in the middle of working in a deal with a German streaming company that is going to be out there as well too. So right now I'm on the major platforms.
Isn't that nice? I love it. All right, so let's talk about now I believe this is your second. I didn't even get to be in on the first children's book. Your second children's book, and you are, I guess, right now turning it into an audiobook. But it's entitled. I love this title. Do you come up with these by yourself? It's called "Never Invited to the Club." Oh, it makes me sad because I was always invited to the club. You couldn't keep my big fat ass out of the clubs in the 80s. So what is this? What inspired you? Well, I guess tell me what it's about, and then what inspired you to write this book?
So Never Invited to the Club everything has a story with me. Everything has a build up.
Yeah, me too.
Everything has a build up. So Never Invited to the Club was originally the children's book as a book. I was literally in the middle of completing it with my illustrator. We was working with my illustrator. We was like almost done. I'm crafting out everything, literally in the middle of it. I had an epiphany one night sitting in my office at 2:30 in the morning and just said, you know what, I'm not feeling it. I don't think this should be a book. I told my illustrator, I said, you know what, I'm gonna pause it for right now. Creatively, I'm feeling something different. So then I felt a stage play out of it. So then I was dabbling with it, and I asked a co-writer that I want to work with. I said, listen, I might have a project that we can work real quickly on. Gave the idea, we kind of figured it out, looked at it as a stage play. I was like, oh, this is a nice little scared kids play. I could definitely shop it to the school districts and the community. Okay. So then another night about 4:30 in the morning at my home office, as you can tell, some nights I don't sleep.
You're a night owl.
I got this creative spark, and literally the creative spark was actually, it came from a conversation I had earlier today with a music producer that was based in Nashville, and we was on a virtual. And I was talking with him in reference to another music project I was working on. And we was talking about this project, and then he was just like, Mike, why don't you just do it as an audiobook? 4:30 that morning, I was like, damn, that makes so much sense. Because so Never Invited to a Club, originally the title came about. I kind of sat down one night and I was not one night. I was being a creative in the industry, in any industry. Sometimes you're not invited to the club, right? And that's where the title really came from.
What type of club are you talking about?
See, that's the thing about it, right? So the idea of the title name came from the idea of never being somewhere to where you don't fit in, right? So the idea of the title came about where not a party club or a dance club.
Yeah.
This is talking about like if you are think about it in a sense of the cool kid sitting at table 6, but you're the one in table 5 that's never getting invited to the club, right? So the title came about one aspect where I kind of looked at it and I was it was a period of time last year where me personally and professionally, I was looking out like I'm reaching certain movements. I'm reaching certain, I'm getting in certain areas in certain rooms, but then certain rooms are not invited, right? So that's where that title came from, Never Invited to the Club. And then I looked at the title and I was like, how can I look at this in a concept and make it to where how would a young person, a kid would look at this? Never Invited to the Club is being the one to where you want to be part of the gym, you want to be part of the club, and then there's always that one person that's saying, no, you're not there. Right? How do you overcome that barrier within yourself first? Right? Because it starts within and then translate outside to where you'll be welcome to the club that you are supposed to be with. Right? So the idea and development of Never Invited to the Club had like a threefold concept to it. And me, I think that's just how my mind thinks at times. So it really, I didn't want it to be an exact feeling. And when I shared this concept with everybody kind of understood it because everybody can relate to where you have an experience to where you might be knocking on that door and it's just not open, right? And then you're walking through, you've seen other people walking through the doors and you're just like, But then when you believe and you get yourself filled, the door that you're supposed to walk in was already be open.
You know, I'm glad you said that because while you're telling this story, I'm listening to you, I'm tuned in, but I'm also thinking back, and I was kind of reflecting on what you were saying, because when I was in high school, I was always part of the clique, but I didn't know. And there was this girl who years later, like maybe 15 years ago, and she tracked me down on Facebook, and her name, I won't say her name, but she said, I just wanted to reach out to you to tell you that she thought that I was making fun of her pink fluffy sweater. This is high school. We're talking the 80s, honey. And apparently that damaged her so bad and caused her to have some sort of, but it wasn't me. It turned out to be who I won't name, but I never did that. I love people. I'm all about building them up and positivity. And she said, but I always thought it was you because when I turned, I saw you looking at me, but I was actually turned because I couldn't believe my friend said that. But she said, I wanted to let you know that I talked to many people in school and they said, Priscilla would never, ever, ever, ever do that. And I'm sure it was another person. And she said, can you verify to me that it was not you? And I said, absolutely not. And I said, oh, if you give me a couple bucks, I'll tell you who it is. No, I didn't say that. But she said that she said that she thought that affected her self-esteem so much that she never felt like she was good enough to be in the book club, the UN club, the this club, the that club. And I can't process that personally because I don't really know how my friend who said something about her pink fuzzy sweater could affect your whole world, that you could feel like you couldn't join in any clubs. So I've never understood that, but she and I have now become friends. But is that what you're talking about? How,
Very
someone can
similar.
say something to you and that can affect your whole life? And I mean,
Absolutely. Well, look in the times we live now. When I was growing up, I'm 46. When I was growing up, the nursery rhyme was "Sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt me."
yeah.
2025, words are hurting people.
Oh, you're killing people. They're committing,
Right?
children are committing suicide.
When I was in the seventh grade, similar to your story, even in high school, I was a popular kid. I was known. When I was in seventh grade, and I still have I still have it somewhere in my office from the seventh grade. Was on construction paper. I show it in presentations and groups I do with high school. I was voted every year our class used to do awards. I remember seventh grade, and what everybody in my seventh grade class voted me for was everybody's pal.
Everybody's what?
Everybody's pal.
Pal.
So
okay.
In that concept, and one of the examples I give that to people, and I say, years later, I didn't even think about it because when I was in middle school, I would talk to the kids that nobody wanted to talk to. I would talk with the jocks. I would talk with, everybody knew Michael, right? So even if people didn't even know, even my friend would be like, "How do you know this person?" I'm like, "Oh, they're real cool."
Yeah.
But to me, I didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah, I didn't think. I was devastated to find out that all these years, one person, not more than one, just her, thought that was me. And then she was told Priscilla is never like that, because I was friends with everyone. But I was wondering if I had known that back in high school, if that would have affected my life in any way. And was it because I think I would have felt so bad that I was hanging with these people who, because we were cheerleaders, and and I think that I would have probably not hung with them anymore, because I would never be a part of hurting anyone. So I just wonder if that little thing, people don't realize that just words are so powerful. I guess it could affect your whole life, because maybe I would have not hung with them. Maybe I would have felt like, oh, I better monitor myself and my words, because I might say, oh, it's just isn't it something, Michael, how you just, people's feelings matter, and you just really have to monitor yourself. I mean, it's a shame, because even now comedians, some of our most famous comedians, they don't even want to do comedy anymore, because everything that they say, everyone's so PC about it. So that's a shame. But I love the idea of the second book. But I wanted to ask, for everyone who's curious, what's the process? Just, you don't have to tell the whole thing. What's the process to turn a book into an audio book? What do you do?
Well, nowadays it's simplified, right? Everything is simplified. There's a lot of different companies that are advertising for your business, right? To come do your audiobook or do things like nature. I would say,
sounds expensive.
Sounds expensive. I know when I only could talk about what my process is going to be, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing for this when this project comes up next on the thing, right? Yeah. So when I press green on this project, the script, everything is done. The only thing I really need to do is get a budget to it and hire some actors. But there's my project with the way I'm looking at this is going to be recorded in a professional studio. There may be some pieces that you can. A lot of times now, like I said, because the way of the world with someone moving technology, you can literally do it. Yeah, you could do it Amazon. You could do Spotify. You literally could be home and do your audio book right at home, record it right at home if you have the right equipment, right? You can do it right at home. Right. So there's I'm probably going to do a professional recording where the person would go into a studio and record podcast. It's the script pages right now is about 22 pages. So you're thinking about a 20-minute audio book. Age group is looking between. Go ahead.
Sorry, we keep cutting and overlapping. Is the process to turn a book into an audiobook different? Like, do you have to write a whole script rather, a book's a book, but an audiobook, do you have to write it like a script? And if so, do you do that, or does the company you hire do that? Like,
I think Amazon. It could be both. Yeah, I think it could be both because, Amazon, I know, like if you're doing something on Kindle book, you already have to have it. Like in most of the distribution companies, you have to already have it already structured, right? How you want it. So if I'm going in and doing my audio book and it's 22 pages and it's an act 1 and act 2, I'm going to have it labeled act 1, act 2 already with the files coming in. For that way I can upload it as the book as it flows in a certain order. Same as like if you're doing a chapter book in print, right? So you would do the whole book, right? Get it filed ready. And then you would submit that file and upload it and then do your distribution that way.
Oh my God, it sounds complicated. I'm getting a headache listening to that. But if you're an art, and you're an artist, you're a creative, yet you're a business person. And a lot of I've been in this business a long time, so I've run in all kinds of people, and most people who are creatives and artists hate the business side of things. They absolutely detest it. They just want to sing their song, write their music on toilet paper, napkins, whatever they can grab. They don't want to do the business process. But this is show business, so you do have to have the business aspect. I run into a lot of talented people, Michael. Ooh, talented. But they say, I don't want to do social media. I don't want to be promoting my stuff. I don't want to go begging, borrowing, and begging for likes and begging for follows. They just want to, do their music and or be an actor without doing all the promotional stuff. What do you say to people who do not want to do it? Is there a glass ceiling for them?
Believe it or not, I don't really think so. Honestly, I think, and this is where I would say, this is my opinion. I think every artist creatively, whether you're an actor, actress, video director, writer, voiceover, whatever profession you're going into the creative arts in, and how long your journey is in that, right? Some people come right in and they fly right away. And some people, it could take 15, 20, 30 years before they break into anything that they consider to be a success, right? Then you have a lot of independent music artists or independent artists, period, that is making a big wave for themselves that's not really attached to that commercial viability as people will see it, right? But they're locally could be a big star and everything in that sense, whether it's visual arts, photography, drawing, painting, anything in that sense. I think it's a creative personal choice whether or not they want to use the trend or not the trend. I think because you can get work without the trend.
I mean, you could go on YouTube, right? Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube. How many people have been discovered? So, I mean, if you have the God-given natural talent, people will find you. But you do have, my personal opinion, you have to put a little effort into it. Put a video up. You could go busking in the subways, but put a video up of it. Let somebody see you. Nobody's going to discover you if you don't try to do something with your work. Now, I know that this is something I did not prepare you for, but I just thought, well, I can ask. And I wanted to know if you could read a very short passage out of Never Invited to the Club, but you may not have the book right there, do you? I do not have the script up. No, that's why I was just like, you see, I'm like, where are we going? I thought of it last minute when I was writing the questions. I said, oh my God, it would be so cool. But it was 5 minutes before the show. And I thought, I can ask. What am I going to? Oh, that would have been so cool. It would have been like a book signing, wouldn't it? Well, the next time. I'll come back and we'll come back and you can read a passage. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the past and inquiring minds want to know. So, what inspired you to pursue a career in storytelling, and how has your journey evolved over the past decade?
Wow. So
Well, all right, what made little Michael B. Judkins? What's the B stand for? Let me guess. Benjamin. Barry. Like Barry White. Ooh, love to love
Michael
you,
Barry. That's what my mother says she got his name. Yeah.
Oh, really? See?
I'm a 70s baby.
So why, as a child, you've heard all kinds of different, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a fireman. What inspired you to pursue this career of storytelling, and what's been happening over the past 10 years? Because you said that the last 10 years have really been potent for you.
Mm-hmm. So actually, I always been a creative. I music always been in my blood. I always like to just laugh and have fun with it. When I was in high school, I was in one of my global studies class, and we was doing an exam, global history. It was called global history back then. I was in my global history class, and we was doing an exam, and I finished the exam early. And back then, you just had to sit and wait for the bell to ring. So I turned my paper over, and I started doodling on the back of the sheet. I mean, I knew what poetry was. I knew, I could put words to page. So I just started doodling. I didn't even know what I was writing, because my if you see my handwriting, I write like a doctor. It's disgusting, right? So I was just doodling. So I turned in my bell rung, turned in my exam, went to the next class. The next week when I came back to that room, because I think this was like a Thursday, Friday, came back to the room. And then she used to like us to call her by her first name. So we used to say Miss Ann. So she's giving out the exams, returning people the exams. And I seen that I had like an A- on the exam. So I seen the mark. I turned over the page, and she noticed I wrote the poem there. And she left a comment on it that says, "Keep writing. You have beautiful words to say." And that was the first time I realized I know how to put words to a page. Because she was like my audience, right?
Yeah,
in a way, she was like my audience.
Right.
So after that, we went through high school. I got to journalism school in Morrisville. I was doing radio, a lot of radio up there. I was doing news writing classes, kind of learning that journalism side of things. But at the same time, I was also working in music. So I started back in the day, I was called a street promoter. So I used to work at Penalty Records as a street promoter. When Capone and Noriega first album came out, I was part of the street team. I was doing club gigs. I was doing parties. And I was also part of doing promotions for Sammy Z for Club Vertical back in the day on 23rd Street in Manhattan. So I was learning that music promotion side and being in the streets and doing all that stuff. And then went to school and I wanted to have a backup, honestly. That's why I continued my education. I wanted a backup because I kept seeing so much inconsistencies.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted a backup. So that's what prompted me to continue my education. And then during that phase, I was creatively, I had Beijing Productions where I was managing 2 artists. I was managing an R&B artist as well as a reggae artist. That started me in an independent path. So I learned a lot about ASCAP and BMI. Learned a lot about the idea of the publishing and really adapting that as concept. And then fast forward, still doing that in 2014 when I started to revamp myself and Oct 14 Entertainment started to come about. It was first Oct 14 Publishing. And then I revamped it because I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get out of that management, artist management stuff.
Right. Oh.
I was like, no. I revamped the whole thing and focused more on me creatively out. Right. And then, and so then that's where that came about. And believe it or not, one night I know a lot of stuff happened with me 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the mornings. I'm not type of
you are. That's your most creative, though.
Mhm. At like 3 o'clock in the morning, I wrote a poem. It was one of the incidents that happened in reference to police brutality. But between now, this was a couple of years. This was about 2015. Yeah, about 2015. Wrote a poem. Wasn't going to publish it. Didn't want to do anything. I already did my first poetry chapbook. So I already the Sentiment to Me, that was already out. So I was working on about to start the second one, and I just wanted to submit to this anthology.
Mm.
So I wrote this poem late at night with the idea of never to submit it anywhere. It was just my frustration poem, right?
Yeah.
Put it under my bed, tied it up. For some reason, that next week made me submit it to an anthology. The anthology picked the poem up. It was AO's 21 Media House at the time. Within 2 months after the anthology came out, the producer contacted me and they offered me a contract. So I was signed to the publishing house for 5 years. Yeah, and they, I did my second book, The Interlude to Sentiment to Me, which was a full poetry collection of 40 poems. They took me on two book tours. Their demographic was the Baltimore, Maryland, DC. That was their market. So they shipped me out on 2 tours. Had a good amount of sales that came through in the book, and then I took 16 to 18 poems and converted it into a stage play called the Interlude to Sentiment to Me stage play. And with the poetry and dialogue and drama mixed in.
So much stuff going on, Michael B. Judkins. Now, as a mental health advocate, how do you see the arts playing a role in healing and inspiring individuals?
To me, it's one of the best things that anybody can incorporate into their treatment, if that's something that they want to do. And, it's a lot of times, like earlier in our conversation, I was talking about just allowing people the opportunity to talk, right? Sometimes we get stuck on what we want to hear instead of what the person actually wants to really see. Right? And a lot of times, sometimes the creative arts helps that come out in a more creative and flowing way for that individual. A lot of times, I always tell people when I hear somebody tell me, I don't know. And I say it to myself, I don't know sometimes. But I always tell people this, I don't know. Every time they say, I don't know, I say, you do know. You just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
you do know. You just don't know how to say it.
And we have the answers to every single one of our problems. It's all in here. I go to bed at night thinking about a problem. I wake up, I got the answer. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? I don't know how it works.
So I just think it's the process of really allowing yourself to be vulnerable and feeling comfortable in the space. And I think that's what creative arts do, right? Because from somebody putting out a music to a lyric to a video to a podcast to anything else, you're showing a part of your vulnerability to this audience, right? And to them, you're entertaining them, but to you, you're stepping out of probably your comfort zones and doing a lot of things that you're like, oh wow, this is helping me feel better and doing things or feel connected, right? So I think the creative arts is a tool that can help a person realize their full potential.
I think now you might think this is crazy, but I just think a lot of the sci-fi shows, specifically like Star Trek and all of the other shows that focus on this particular story, I think that if humans had a choice, nobody would work and they would all focus on self-growth. Everybody would be painting or singing or playing an instrument. Nobody would be working because I think everybody I've ever met wants to do something in the creative arts. I don't know. I don't know. I think if we had a choice and we didn't have to work a day job, we would be painting or acting or singing or some sort of creative endeavor in our life. And if we didn't have to do a day job, we'd be doing that. Real quick, can you share the creative process behind your, I guess we could say it's acclaimed acclaim short film Lonely Girl. You come up with these titles. I'm like, oh my God, he is going to title my next movie. Gotta call him. And what is it? And then we're going to show the video clip for Lonely Girl. And what does it mean to you to receive all of that recognition on the film festival circuit?
Yeah. So again,
Oh, you
Lonely
have
Girl.
hold on. There's somebody that's saying, Garland Drake said, "Sup? What's up?" You know who that is?
How you doing?
Garlic
I do
Drake.
not know, but nice to meet you.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead. Continue. That pops up every once in a while since we're live. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Lonely Girl. Again, I'm a history. Everything has a backstory.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. You were up at 5:45 with a cappuccino in one hand and a cigar in the other one, and go.
Probably, right? Probably. No, but literally, it came about where I was actually working with a music school, and I went to take a couple of lessons with this guitarist, and I was writing. I was working more perfecting how to write lyrics to music.
Yeah.
And I came in with the song idea. I didn't have the title yet, and we was playing with it. And originally, it's supposed to be, well, it had Lonely Girl, but it wasn't really attached. It was supposed to be a poem on my second book, The Interlude to Sentimental Me. But I couldn't, for some reason, I kept going blank. I wasn't able to write anything to the page. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna develop a song out of it. So I went and I was working on the song idea. And then my sister happened to call me one night. This is years ago. And I'm on the phone. And this time I was on my balcony. I had a glass of white wine, and she called me, and I'm sitting up there, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And she's complaining about her husband, my brother-in-law. But then I hear the beep. Boop. So then I said, hold on, I click over. It was my brother-in-law. So then he's on the phone like, man, she's getting on my nerve. So I got both of them on the phone.
I love it. Now this is the stuff I love, Michael.
So they don't know I'm talking to one of them. So I'm like, get them off the phone. And literally, I wrote Lonely Girl as a record. I wrote the whole lyrics. And then I went to the musician at the time, and me and him, he started doing the music, and we started jamming out with the lyrics and creating melody and everything in that sense. And then I sat on it for like about a good year, believe it or not. And then I was a part of another film crew out here that was doing a movie, and I was part of the casting. I was part of doing casting, so I was at the audition. And one of the actors that played in the movie, she actually worked on my stage play, so I'm familiar with her. And then she was at the audition, Tati, she was talking to me about always feeling typecast as a Latino woman in the creative arts industry. From that time, when we left each other, I already knew I was going to write this short film with her in mind, playing this character of Joe Renee with the story of what I was developing. So I called her and I said, Tati, listen, I have an idea. I'm going to play with it. I will let you know when I have the script ready. She's like, yeah, anytime, Michael. That next year I had the script ready, and she said, let's do it. And then I got a budget together and we shot it.
So what we're about to see, the film clip for the short film Lonely Girl, is that the girl you're talking about who stars in it? Okay. So what was your role on it? You wrote it, produced it,
directed, and produced it.
Okay. Let's look at it, Michael. All right. Albert, take it away. Let's see Lonely Girl. Hey there.
I love it.
Oh, sorry. There's something wrong with the video. There's a problem. I don't know what it is. Ever since our power. All right, here we go again.
The power outages. It's the weather.
That was me in the 7th grade. Now love looks the same.
So we took away your life.
I'm not having this argument again. But I got the job and I want it.
Enjoy your day.
Ain't this my lucky day?
Hi, Mark. How are things?
I destroyed the bedroom. The place where I felt the most lonely.
I guess in love, I've always been a lonely girl.
see more. Now, where can we see the whole film?
So
Where can we
Lonely
see it,
Girl.
Michael?
Yeah, I actually got picked up by a couple of streaming platforms. So it's actually on Red Horror Universe. That short film is on Lonely Girl. So right now, and it's on Global Cinema Online. Global Cinema Online is a great platform for creatives, filmmakers. Look, that's a great resource. Look it up. Global Cinema Online.
Global Cinema Online. So if I went to my streaming services, what platform do I look for again to see Lonely Girl?
So you would go to if you go to your streaming services, or if you have Roku or the Fire app or Fire TV, you click on the App Store. Click on the App Store, and you click on the app Red Coral Universe.
I want to see the rest of it now. She's really good. Has she done anything else for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She is Tachi. She worked on the stage play, The Interlude to Sentiment to Me. I had her do one of the PSAs I produced out here for the Drug and Alcohol Agency, and on second script, I have about 8 scripts ready. That just need editing, literally. So, if I had a great capital investor, we can make a really good thing going on.
Yeah, toot toot. All right.
I have another script that I'm doing right after Broski. It might go coincide. I don't know, depending if something comes through. I don't know yet. But I have another script called Wild Love Again that I'm gonna have her star in.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's good. I like her. Now, what advice would you give to aspiring storytellers who want to use their art to drive positive changes into the world?
Own it.
Own it.
And what I mean by that is it's okay to work with different companies because you got to elevate at some point, right? And depending on what direction you want to go in your creative path, one of the things my mentor taught me, and I stick with this: own it. So, and what I mean by that, whether you're writing it, whether you're producing it, whether you're doing that, you have a stake, a larger investment creatively in the project, you have more autonomy to feel free in the piece. So, and I think that helped me learn. That helped me learn even being in a publishing contract under a publishing house, working with editors and working with different things, to where you learn that process. And I'm very helpful for that. But at the same point, it's my voice. So I want to make sure it stays my voice.
Gotta stay it. I'm not a collaborator. I can't do the collaboration.
A lot of people can't for some reason. That's interesting. Yeah.
What's wrong with me? I don't know why. I can't. My friend Brian Kiley, he's been the head writer for Conan O'Brien for over, I think it's like 25, 29 years now. Wow. And he worked himself up from a staff writer, because you remember the Conan O'Brien show? So he was just, he said he was being there and there'd be like 12, 15 people and they'd all have to collaborate. I couldn't do it. It would make me feel like I was on the New York Stock Exchange, where everybody's fighting to get their word in. I'm not a collaborator. But, some of the best things come out of collaboration. But I like to write my own shit, man.
Yeah, I totally understand how you feel about that.
What's the most valuable lesson you've learned on your journey as a filmmaker and creative storyteller?
Believe it or not, ask for help.
Yeah.
I think for me, when you mentioned about the business part, what I did was started getting more business mentors. So, for me, it was more in the sense of looking at being bold enough to sit there and say, what are your weaknesses?
Yeah, don't be ashamed.
And
a lot of people are ashamed, Michael, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, well, people aren't going to think I'm smart, or they're not going to think I have any talent, or they're going to think I steal their ideas. But you can't be like that. You got to say, yo, I need some damn help up in here.
Yeah. And one thing I would say, even with creatives, utilize your community creative council, if you have one in your state. Like Pennsylvania, we have the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts, but they also have local branches in each counties and stuff to where they have an art organization or any type of art affiliation to get to know those people, even if you don't be involved or do anything, but get to know those
Yeah.
people, places and things, because
Yeah.
that's where you can find networking opportunities, and that's where you can find just
loans and
celebrity
grants
stuff.
too, right, Michael? Get lots of loans.
I just got approved for a grant the other
did
day,
you?
literally Friday. Yeah,
Oh,
it's called a Creative Entrepreneur Grant.
Oh my God, that's great! Was it for a short film or another book, or
it's going towards the Broski project.
the movie? Okay, yay! All right, but that's a process, right? I mean, whenever you're applying for a grant, but you got to have that staying power, because these cities have money up in here. You got to go get your money, but a lot of people don't. They shy away from it because it is a very tedious process. But do you want it? Do you want it? Who's going to give you the money? You tapped your damn parents out. Your husband's divorced your ass because you drained the credit cards. Go get some money from a grant. Now, what advice would you give to someone who was looking to break into the entertainment and independent filmmaking, or just taking any creative direction?
I would say be true to you. Find out what you want to do. I would say don't be limited to that one thing either, because it's so evolving.
Yeah.
Where you might come in doing music, but then wind up being in fashion, right? Or you might come in doing radio, and then you wind up like, oh well, wait a minute, now I like podcasting better, right?
It's true. I moved here to go to UCLA to direct. And then I found out, oh, hell no, I don't want to be learning all the parts of the camera, and I don't want to do that because I'm extremely detail-oriented and methodical, so my strength lies in producing. So I ended up changing completely. And then I got everybody saying, oh, but you have a natural comedic talent. You should be on a sitcom. I'm like, no, but people will try to talk you into something that you don't really want to do. You may have a gift at doing things, but you might not want to do it. I know if I wanted to be a comedic actress, it would be so easy for me, but I have no interest at all in it. At all. I can't learn words. If it's one word, I can do it, Michael. If it's a sentence you can stretch it, but I can't do a monologue. No, can't do it. But it's amazing.
I had one more thing too.
Yeah.
I would say in addition to that, I should say, just knowing yourself. I will also say, in addition to that, pick up a book and learn the business of creative arts. We talk about business on here a little bit a while ago, but I'm talking about in the sense of find out about your contracts, find out about your deals. Make sure you know if I'm sending you $5, I have a paper trail of that $5.
Yes, it's so true. People don't want to focus on business, but you have to, because when you are with lots of different businesses, but especially the entertainment industry, you are your own accounts receivable, accounts payable, marketing, networking, sales, administrative assistants, PR agent. You are everything to yourself starting out, until you can show people what you can do. And then you can start bringing your team together, or your team can be your family members and your friends. But you do have to take or learn a basic business, like basic, and there is no darn excuse, because you can go on YouTube and learn everything you need to know. There is no YouTube that's not available. I mean, my God, you can learn anything. So just type it in and get it going, because you do have to learn something. Look at how many people were ripped off by their own managers, Michael. I mean, we're talking stars, right? Crazy. Anyway, how do you balance artistic integrity with the practical demands of the industry?
I think
that's hard.
It's a I wouldn't say hard. It's a challenging question if depending on your own ethical standards, right? So to me, I mean, you coming from a platform, the entertainment business in itself, from years ago, coming from a platform that was never really artist friendly, right? So this system's been in place way before us, right? And probably is going to be in place in certain elements way after us, right? But I think that's where it comes to understanding your business structure and your practice, right? Because it all depends on to that. Like there's one of the things that helped me, I think, in my creative arts is because I kind of understand that human element. You know, I wouldn't put myself or put a contract out there. I wouldn't sign myself, right? Or anything in that sense to where it's not going to move my company or make my company reputable in a negative way, right? So everything that's one of the things I always look forward. I look towards, even because I have to have understand ethics and morals on my other side of the other profession I have. So in this profession, they don't have most of the times you won't see it unless you probably signed up in a college to where you get an ethics course in entertainment business, right? It's not a mandated requirement for anybody working in a career to get that professional development training, right? It's not there. It's not there.
No, and it's very hard because I'm a rule follower. I am a very moral, ethical person. But when you're doing independent filmmaking and you don't have a big budget, people are, they used to always be trying to get me to do guerrilla style filmmaking. I can't do it, Michael. I got to pay the film permit. I can't do it. I can't do it. But you know, it's hard because you will be challenged to make all these cuts to get the footage and stuff. But I personally can't do it. I can't. And you could be looked at as an old hard ass or a nerd or someone. And they're like, let's just shoot it. I mean, but I'm like, you can't. I said, think about this. You shoot footage with people's faces. Okay, so you get it into the festival. These people might show up at the festival and say, hey, I never gave you permission to put me in your film, even if it's background. You accidentally shoot a Coca-Cola product or a name brand product. They're going to sue your ass. I'm not going down for it. I can't do it. I'm going to put all my little bit of money into getting the film permit. But I'm not saying that it's wrong not to do it. If you feel comfortable doing it and you can take the heat, do it. But I'm not going down with you. I'm not going on Cell Block H. I'm not doing it.
So I had this. It was a production I was on and I came on the production as the production manager, and I'm very organized. I have all the folders. I have documents. I have the W-9s. I'm talking to the company like, what do you guys want to do? They're like, yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do this. Okay. Literally, and there was a good people, but it was literally, I would say, going closer to the shoot to where there was, since it was a shoot in Maryland, I didn't have to be on set. I could stay, remotely in PA and work from that way. They started letting background people on the set without signing the releases. I get a call because since they was shooting, I had to at least be remote. So I'm at my home office during the time of their shooting.
Yeah.
For that way, if anybody called me, I can pick up, hey, what's going on? I could triage, just troubleshoot. I get a call from one of the PAs. That's why she told me. She said, Mike, they're letting people on this set that. So I had to call the director and be like, you need to stop. And she's going to get those people to sign the release, and then she's going to scan it for that way we can file it. And your records that I'm going to give you for your production. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just creatively thinking. I was like, no problem. That's why we got the team to kind of be like, oh nope, stop that, don't do that.
Yeah,
and it's just an effort.
Looking at the creative, and then that's why you got to have a very, very smart, important business person that takes care of that, or else you can get in big trouble. Now, what resources or tools have been most helpful in developing your skills as a screenwriter and director? Like, for example, final draft is like mandatory if you want to be a screenwriter. However, I mean, that's what I've always known. However, I understand now there's more software that's out there that's a competitor. But I know many people who work at the studios and they say, I don't care. We use Final Draft, and the software, whatever they're using, they have to convert it because when they submit it to us, it has to be able to open up in Final Draft. So what tips can you give us about the resources and tools?
Again, to me, I look at it as to where if you're following trends, you're following trends, and if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do.
If you start out, what would you recommend an aspiring screenwriter? Should they invest? Because that shit's expensive, Michael. Final Draft, when I bought it, it was like $900 a long, long time ago. I think it's down now in price, but would you say... What would you say?
There's the top 3 that I recommend, and there's out of the three I tried on, and there's one that I pretty much do all the time, right?
Oh, which one?
I work better on Celtics, and Celtics works better with me.
Celtics, TICKS or
no,
tips?
CELTIX, Celtics.
Celtics, okay.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
That screenwriting platform works better for me, but I also use Studio Binder and I use Final Draft. So
wow.
Studio Binder to me has more resources on learning lighting. They have all types of tools that you could go in and learn. They even have templates for you to do mock contract releases. So they give you those resources bundled up in the Studio Binder. So that's why I said it really depends. Because like everybody will push you towards Final Draft.
Yeah.
But you're only catering to that one studio or that Hollywood filmmaking.
Yeah.
Right?
So to initially get it out, so it's Celtics. And what was the other one you said?
Studio Binder.
Studio Binder. So check those out because Michael knows. All right, great tips because I never heard of those two. Now, what strategies have helped you navigate the challenges of funding and producing independent projects? It's always about give me the money, show me the money. That's hard. That's the hardest part, I think.
It is. It doesn't get easier with each project either. It's depending on the content, the details, the layout, the structuring. If you want to go full blown, whatever your ideas is, it never gets funding, never gets easier. But I think as the time goes along, I think that the best developing strategies that you can make is actually understanding why you want the money. Once you understand the why you want the money to produce your film, you can kind of break down, okay, you're going to do your film pitch deck. Yes. You're going to write this beautiful illustrated website and crowdfunding page. Yes. Some people will respond to it. Some people don't. Don't be discouraged by that. Some people could put a crowdfunding out there and be like, boom, get their whole thing funded in a month. Some people put it out there, they might not be so lucky. Don't be discouraged by that. The idea would be really is to look at the funding and the aspect of what do you want to do first? Do you want to sell the script or do you want to produce it yourself? Right? So that would be because to me, sometimes I think like I'll take a very literally one of my other scripts I just wrote, there was the idea of whether should I produce it or should I sell it? So if I was to sell the script, right, I'm okay with doing that. But a lot of times people don't understand when you're about to ready to sell a script, you can't produce it, right? Like it's like you have to wait and see if somebody buys it, right?
Right.
So if your idea on this project, you got a project and you're like, well, you know, I'm looking for a studio to buy it or pick it up. Okay, how long are you looking to do that for that script, right? Are you going to do 3 to 6 months? Are you looking to do it from 6 to 12 months? Nobody picks it up. Okay, so you're going to roll that over to 12 to 18 months. So it really, to me, at least I learned in a way, it really depends. And then when I got sick and I was supposed to go down to the American Film, oh my God, the AFCI, that it was in Las Vegas last year.
Yeah.
And I literally got sick before I was going to go, and I was going to go down there. And one of the companies I was working for, LA, one of the companies I was working for was going to pay for my ticket to go out there with them to pitch. But I got sick. I couldn't even travel.
Oh,
So some getting those experiences like that to kind of understanding what the pitch is within the role, not being okay with like really looking at your script and your to kind of say like, where am I going to? If this is a drama, I'm not going to knock on the producer that produces horror film to see if they want to produce my film, right? So that's why I said that's where that strategicness comes into saying, what do you really want to do with the script? Are you going to write it, produce it yourself, or are you going to write it and try to sell it?
yeah.
So because that is two different paths, right? To where I know people that I want to sell the script, and then 2 years later they're like, oh, I'm just going to produce it myself, right?
Right.
Or then I've known people that sold the script, got picked up, got their little cut from it, and that's it. They have no more creative input into it.
Right.
It's gone.
Are you talking about optioning it? Correct.
So then that's why I was like, it really depends on
what you want to do.
The best strategies I could say, because I'm still a student. I never consider myself an expert. I'm still a student learner. So it's project specific and the goal specific to what you want to do.
That's right, I think. All right, we're talking about your podcast. So if somebody wanted to launch their own podcast or digital series, what steps would you suggest for getting started? Not like the whole process, but we're talking a young person here.
Yeah.
I think you can do it on anything, right?
You can do it on anything. You could jump on YouTube and do a podcast. You jump on Facebook, do a podcast.
Everybody does one.
Everybody do a podcast. But if you look in the structure, like if you want to do an own structuring of your show, right? You want to still have that A, B, and C, right? What is your thing? What is your introduction? What is your topic? You know, what is your culture? What is your niche, right? So that way you can start branding yourself and moving forward. And sometimes the best ones is made out of spontaneity. So jump on and just get connected.
Right. Find out who you are and what you like to talk about. Because if you don't like to talk about something and you get bored of it, it's going to be okay. We're winding it up here. What's the best piece of career advice you've ever received, and how has it shaped your approach to storytelling?
So there was a couple of people I can say. I would say this one, I'm going to give it to my granddaddy.
Okay.
Reason why, because he said something to me that I utilize in my life every day. I was at a camp counselor one summer when I was in college, and I'm from New York, so I lived in New York at that time. And when I was at the camp, it was me and a couple of counselors. I remember this. We were sitting somewhere outside in the camp, and one of the directors was walking towards us. And I swear to you, I got this feeling. I knew he was coming to me for some reason. I just sat there and we was all talking, and he was walking over, and I kept looking that way. I was like, I had a feeling in my gut he was coming to me. I didn't know. I didn't know why. I just had a feeling he was coming to me. He did. He came right over to me and said, "Hey, Michael, can you come here for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I got up. He was like, "Listen, your mom's on the phone." I'm like, "Mom's calling the camp. What's she calling the camp for?"
Yeah.
So he was like, "I think this is an important call." She said she wanted to make sure that you get this call. So I was like, "Okay." So I go in the camp director's office, get on the phone with my mom. She tells me that granddaddy was sent to the hospital and looks like he's not going to make it. And she wanted me to come down because this was in Fishkill and I lived in the Bronx. So I was like, okay. So they gave me the release to go home from the camp. So I went down there, went to go see him in the hospital, and he looked at me and he said, "Keep moving." That's all he said to me. He's like, he squeezed my hand and he said, "Keep moving."
Yeah. Keep moving.
There's been a couple of times in my life to where I honestly thought I couldn't stop. I was ready to stop everything, or just ready to just give up on certain dreams because it was taking too long, or people are not recognizing your talent, or you're never invited to the club, right? So that kept me going. They kept saying like, "Keep moving," and that's one of the things I hold dear into, especially in the creative arts where there's a world of no. And when you get that one yes, you're stretching that yes as far as you can, right?
Yeah.
So keep moving. That's what I would leave the audience with. Keep moving.
I never accept no. To me, a yes is a no in disguise. I have always thought of it like that. Even as a little child, people would say no. I'd say, well, I'm not having that. Last question, and we're going to show the last video too. If you could go back in time and give yourself a couple pieces of advice, or one, that would greatly help your career to avoid any pitfalls, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't want to go back, but if I had to.
Now you're giving yourself a tip. You're like, hey, Michael, so in the future this is going to happen. So here's what you need to do to avoid it. Don't take the red pill. Don't take the blue pill.
That's an interesting one, because part of me, to be honest, part of me is saying nothing. Honestly,
oh, okay.
The journey is the journey. The journey is what's making you who you becoming, right? So that part of me would say that, because if I went back in time and changed one thing, I would not be the man I am today.
Yeah.
So that part of me, I can see it in that sense. But then the other sense of me, I would look at it honestly. I would tell myself, and I would go back to the beginning of my college, not high school. I would go back to the beginning of my college year.
Right.
My first year in college. I would say, remember that offer that you got when you went to college and the radio station offered you a job. And you did not take it because you came from SUNY Mooresville, from I guess I wouldn't call it a traditional journalism school. You came from an environment to where it was diversity in a sense, to go into a college that was predominantly Black, and they offered you it and they didn't accept you.
What? Wow. Unbelievable. Oh,
right? I would go back at that time, because that was the moment that actually got me out of wanting to do traditional radio.
Oh, wow. So you were born in New York and you went to college in Pennsylvania.
I went to SUNY Mooresville, upstate New York.
Oh,
and
upstate.
Then I finished my bachelor's and master's in Toro College in New York City.
Ah.
And I live in Pennsylvania.
Oh, you live in Pennsylvania. Oh my God, I had some of the best time in Red Bank. Oh no, that's New Jersey. Sorry, wrong. Well, that was the 80s. All right. You spent some time in Maryland. I hear I went to Towson State in Maryland. I don't know if you know where that is. Were you in Maryland at all, or no?
I used to party at Baltimore State, though. I used to come down and go to parties in Baltimore State. Yeah.
All right, Baltimore State.
Because I have friends from Mooresville that used to be in that lived in Maryland. So
that had some good times in Maryland. Now, what is the last video, Albert, that we're going to play for Michael? Oh, the podcast. Is it Michael being interviewed, or is it
probably not?
Probably that.
Oh, you're doing my wellness tips.
Oh, it might be your ones. Okay, so let's play. I don't know what it is, Michael, so we can't set it up. Maybe afterwards when we come back, you can tell us what it's about.
Sure.
All right, Albert, let's take it away.
I'm gonna be the king of the Queen Victoria. Waitress on the shoulder, get me a beer. I'm gonna be the king of the Queen Victoria.
Hi, I'm Diane, and we're sitting down today with Steve Broski, talk about his life and his music. So, Steve, you've been a long-time resident here in the Lehigh Valley. What is it that keeps you here so long?
Well, I have my roots here, number one, and I learned a long time ago that if you don't actually take a sharp object and sever your roots, you wind up where you are. The Lehigh Valley, I made and obviously a home for myself here and a family. And I write about being here. Growing up here, this was a very industrial area, and it was an incredibly strong middle class part of Pennsylvania.
We just want to get back home.
And it lacked culture. If you wanted culture, you had to go to Philadelphia or New York. It wasn't in the Lehigh Valley when I was growing up.
I gotta ask, where's your favorite place to go for pizza?
For pizza, Catasauqua. A place called Pies on Pizza.
Let's get down, let's all go to Allentown.
Oh my God, I love that. Now I want pizza. Now I want pizza, Michael.
So here's the funny part, because I don't know if you got any of my chats. So that was actually part of the interview for Broski promotion for the fundraiser.
Yes, I got that now. That is part of the interview because you're currently working on that film. So it's good we end it with that. That's what your big project is that you're focusing 100%. It's called Steve Broski Living in Allentown. We just showed the clip. And how can we help you make that dream come into fruition, Mr. Michael B. Judkins?
Absolutely. I've already building up my film crew. I'm already building up my film crew for this project, but I already we're casting now for background, just building up the talent background database. I will be casting for local talent for supporting and lead roles. We're looking to keep everything within PA with this work, but I'm also looking for creatives for post-production, so colorists, anything of that nature.
Color correction,
color grading,
sound
anything in that sense. Definitely looking for that, and I'm definitely always looking for sound mixers, whether for this production or for another production.
Sound is so important. Oh my God, I can't tell you. Even in film festivals, because I'm a judge and screener for several, and I see so many people submitting their projects, and what did they not focus on? Color correction and sound, and they have their music so loud you can't even hear the dialogue, and that's just no. Please, independent filmmakers, focus on the sound. If you have a budget, I would say make sure you spend a large portion of it in color correction and sound, and keep a 20% bumper cushion for your film festivals. A lot of opportunities missed not entering in film festivals. I know they're expensive, but that's where you're going to get your film distribution, right, Michael? This is where, the color correction and sound is so important. How many times, Michael, have you watched an independent film and the sound, they don't have the right music, the sound is too loud, the sound is muffled, the color is yellow? I mean, it's so important. Everything's important, but if you can get a little budget, Michael, right? Put it on your sound and your color correction.
And save some for advertising and promotion.
That's right.
Don't spend it all in principal photography.
Oh my God, they all do it. I swear to God. That's why I'm very careful. I'm a producer on lots of independent films, and I choose who I select to be a producer on very carefully, because you know what happens, Mike. I don't know if you heard this, but a lot of times people just want to get, and it's a big pet peeve of mine, a lot of people just want to get a damn credit on IMDb. So they will start a fundraising campaign, they'll shoot a teaser trailer, put it on IMDb, and drop it and move on to something else. And before you commit to being a producer, or, because I donate to a lot of films as well, you got to make sure you vet them. You got to say, hey, has this person, how many film festival awards do they have? How many laurels and accolades have they gotten so far? And also, how many finished projects? Because if you do research, you'll find, Michael, so many people just want to get that credit. They never even finish it. You'll see it's been in development or pre-production for like 10 years. So look out for those little things. Be aware of those, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is your project on IMDb yet? Do you have it up there?
It is.
Broski,
The Broski project is on
get your
Allentown.
credits on there. Get your credits. Get show something, because not just you. I'm talking to people in general.
No,
if you're gonna put something on IMDb, to whoever you have attached to the project, get them on there, because when people are looking to donate money or become an investor, they're going to go to IMDb. It's the Bible, people. It's the Bible, and they look to see who's attached. Then they'll say, okay, I'll donate because I've seen this person or this person, that person. So get your credits as soon as you start the production. It's never too late. That's how you're going to get money. I'm giving some tips too, Michael. I got some tips coming in here. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. You are you are so talented, so educated, and I don't know if you're married, but handsome.
Thank you.
Tell the woman don't be getting jealous. But I just appreciated everything you've given to the audience today.
Oh,
really,
thank you.
It's been just such sage advice to everyone, and you're so appreciated. I thank you, Beatrice Davis, for booking Mr. Michael. I'm gonna call him Barry because I love Barry. And you kind of look like Barry White, like a young Barry White, don't you? Just a little bit. Have you been told that? I bet you've been told that before. But please keep us abreast of everything.
I will.
And as you move through the stages, we want to be involved. Let me know. We'll promote it on all my sites. I have hundreds of thousands of followers. We'll get it out there, and I'll ask them, show me the money. Give them some coins. Give my Barry some damn coins for this movie. And we love the guy. So, you know, I'm looking for, hopefully if you have, if you make it to LA, make sure you enter it in my festivals.
I love it.
But if you come to LA and you have a premiere, make sure you invite me, and I can bring a whole bunch of people in the biz.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you
to Question Reality for having me on your show, your team.
Yes. And let's be
audience.
Let's be social media friends. That way, you know,
we'll connect.
Post, and I can post your stuff. You can shoot me on Messenger. I'll post it and blast it on out there, because that's what we have to do in the business. We have to be supportive. And so many people are like, oh, I don't want, they don't want to contribute or share, or they don't want to be a part of it. They're stingy with their stuff, Michael. We're not going to be stingy. But and if you ever come to LA, let me know. We'll go out. We'll take you to dinner. Have a good old time.
I sure will. Add me to your network.
All right, sweetie. Thank you so much, everybody. Say goodbye to your fans.
Bye, guys. It was a pleasure having an opportunity to talk with you guys.
Bye. We'll see you next week.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona.